Hello again, welcome to another week of devlog. We're just talking about what we did this week or what we're gonna do this week. For me, I'm gonna start by focusing on cosmetics. There's a few things that we've been wanting to do for a while, and it's nice to get them out of the way. Actually, some of these things I have already started. The main thing was animating the foliage that is in the foreground.
So the first thing to say about this is that I never intended it for animation. The clumps of leaves were all together and the shadows were just thrown on top, and I cut the shape to match. So I had to go back in and start cutting stuff and separating the layers and remaking the shadows. I took everything to After Effects and there I added a wiggle expression on the rotation axis for the leaves and overlaid some layers for the shadows. Finally, I exported it as a PNG sequence with alpha. From there, Toots took over and made it work in Unity, and it looks super cute.
Other small things were just raindrops for the rain and thunder.
Sorry, I meant to say lightning. This was a feature that Toto added a few weeks back. Basically, when there's stormy weather, there's a chance of lightning falling and destroying one of the crops at random. He created this directly in Unity using the particle system, and to be honest, I already think it looks fantastic. But he said he wanted something more. So, on my side it was pretty simple. I just had to create a few lightning shapes and make sure that they all ended in the same spot. I created the sprite sheets for him, and later in Unity he will just randomize and flip them to add a little bit more variety.
After that, I jumped to replace the sprites for the lightning effects. Since the sprite sheet consisted of 3 types of lightning, I made it randomly select which one will spawn, as well as a possibility of a thinner secondary fork if you wanted. I also added a flash at the beginning and a little more detail on the impact. Now, a little bit of dirt explodes every time lightning hits the ground. Overall, it turned out nice. I'm really happy with it. This week, I wanted to finish the weather system. But first, I changed up the foreground plant visuals with the animated ones that Rosie did. After setting that up, I dived in to work on the weather. So far, it was cycling between a light rain and a storm. But we also wanted to include a few other mild weathers like a sunny weather, which would be a default, and a cloudy one. And also another extreme weather like a drought. Since the system uses scriptable objects, it was as easy as just creating 3 more files and setting them up. Of course, each new weather has to have their accompanying visuals as well. I didn't really have an idea before what the effects could be, so after some time thinking, I decided to make a heat displacement shader for the drought and the cloud scrolling effect for the cloudy weather. I enjoy making shaders with the shader graph, but I know I'm not the best at it, so it took some time to make it work. After I made the cloud shader, we had a chat with Rosie about it, and as we were thinking about how to improve it, she came up with another idea. An effect like dappled light that happens underneath trees. We thought it looked cute, so I tried my hand at making it, and it turned out quite nice. Though I still feel like it needs a little bit more work to look perfect, but it's definitely usable. I think it could also be used for some sort of special weather, maybe something similar to Lucky Day in Stardew Valley. Something that is rare, but also something that brings a lot of benefits, or maybe just increasing harvest amounts.
I also wanted to mention that the game will have 2 game modes. An arcade mode, where the gameplay will be more fast-paced with shorter play sessions and simpler mechanics, and a garden mode, designed for longer and more laid-back play sessions, where you can take your time designing and customizing your garden and planting your veggies and making your perfect veggie garden. We are thinking of starting with releasing the access to the test for arcade mode soon, so look out for the announcement if you'd like to participate.
Finally, there's the small matter of water drops for the rain effect. We were undecided on whether we wanted raindrops to have a stroke, like most of the assets, or not, just leave them as fills. I made 2 versions, exported and sliced the sprite sheets in Unity, and disregarding the scaling issue, this experiment made it quite clear that we'd rather have no strokes. Also, apparently the particles need to be sliced into squares for it to work with a particle system, so I amended that too.
Following that, I replaced the water particles for the rain. It was quite simple, as all I needed to do was to select the new particle I wanted to use and adjust a few parameters to make it look nicer. Since the game is 2D, the rain hitting the ground is actually just the particle dying and spawning new particles that are affected by gravity in a different way to create the raindrop effect. One issue we ran into was making sure the drops only fell on the ground area of the screen and not the sky. But that was solved with selecting the right lifetime value so they wouldn't die too early. I also set some particles to never hit the ground at all, letting them go off screen to add a bit of variation and help tie the visuals together. With that, every weather had an effect tied to it. So to finish off the week, I spent the rest of it plugging in the effects into the system, so the correct effects apply during the correct weather. That was obviously easier said than done.
If you also have any ideas where we could use this effect or any other weather types, leave us a comment below.
So yeah, not that many updates from me on the game dev front, sadly. This week has been a bit more about animation for me. I'm currently working on some animated GIFs to promote our website better. We're both really bad at social media and just managing our company's socials in general, so we're trying to get better at that. I'm not gonna lie, making these videos takes quite a bit of time for me, so I really hope they're coming out good.
As for real life plant water boom, this weekend we finally planted our plants in the garden. I can show that. It's quite a challenge as we hadn't cut the grass since last year. And we don't actually have a lawnmower, we have hand-powered. Oh, Dixon. Dixon has come to join. Hey Dixie boy. You wanna go out to the sun? He has his own little balcony right there. He likes to go. So I'm gonna let him free in a bit. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so we have a man-powered lawnmower and our friends were very nice to help us. Since Vildas can't really walk right now, I don't know if we talked about his leg last week. He cut his tendon and so he's out for the next few weeks. He can't do much. But it's really nice. It's really nice to be working on a game about planting and harvesting and at the same time have our own lovely, cute little, tiny, super small garden, but where we're planting and harvesting as well, with hopefully nothing blowing up. But yeah, I'm gonna let Dixon out. There he goes. He's extremely scaredy cat, so he takes his time going outside. And he doesn't stay long, but he does enjoy it when he actually goes. Hey Dixie.
And here's a tour of our little garden. We just finished planting a few things around. New cucumber plants, a peony that's about to flower. Loads of thyme. Here we have some zucchinis, a few tomatoes, Swiss chard and sweet peas, a couple of marigolds. We also have lovely blueberry bushes right here and a few new raspberry bushes that we just planted.